Welcome. We're live from Xi'an, China for the World Cyber Games 2019.
No, nice. They're all on the cliff. Onto the cliff. In the meanwhile, we've got Drace hiding in the back. He's going to be able to pick up the double kill.
Lich in trouble, he comes to Storm on low, Colin will use defensively, tries to save the no!
Oh no, they're not going to be able to do it!
Look at that! He's going to end the game on a core here. We see on the core, and that's going to be game!
Welcome back to WCG 2019. We are going to be going to the elimination match now.
That's right.
In the losers bracket of our invitational tournament.
Yeah. So that means we're going to have Cyan, the Chinese player, going up against a player from Italy that you might know. It's Reynor, who kind of got smashed by Maru, unfortunately for him. But
yeah, Maru with pretty impeccable endgame there. Pretty much untouchable when he gets enough battle cruisers and gets that mech going.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, actually. I just talked about it with Roddy for quite a bit. We were kind of going over ideas of how do you stop this new Liberator battlecruiser thing that Maru's doing, because it just looks so scary. But it's going to take some time, I think, for Zergs to adjust, and that makes me feel like this tournament, for Reynor to win it at this point, is very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Maru is still in the tournament, how on earth is he ever going to get past that player? When you have a tournament that's this small, a four-person invitational,
he would have to beat Maru to win the tournament.
Yes, he would literally have to defeat him there. I mean, we're going to find out pretty soon how Neeb does against Maru, but of course it's a different matchup.
Yeah, very, very different indeed. And excited to see how Maru plays that as well. But first up, of course, the ZVP matchup here for Reynor. Haven't seen a lot of Cyan's PvZ lately, but obviously Immortal play and whatnot is pretty popular. Could be a very aggressive series out of our Chinese Protoss. It oftentimes is.
It certainly could be. The Chinese have had a history of, our RTS games, a lot of unique aggressive attacks early on. They've always had a very a good angle at it. It's been tough for a lot of other regions of the world to kind of adapt to it, because it definitely is their own approach a lot of times. And sometimes it can catch players off guard.
Yeah, that's so true. Now take a look at our double elimination bracket. You can see that our upper bracket final, Neeb versus Maru. We will be playing that today.
Right.
Obviously, the grand final will not be played today, but all the rest of the matches will be.
Yes, and so this is an important moment here. I mean, we've got a big audience down here, and a lot of pressure, of course, on our Chinese player. You know, one thing I love about the Chinese fans is how much enthusiasm they have, especially when there's a Chinese player here. But, you know, that can work either way, really. You know, it also can be pretty tough if everybody in the room is rooting for you. You know, and with the amount of pride that China has in their esports, we'll see how this actually plays out for him. And when you look at Reynor, similar to Neeb actually in this regard, both of them seem very comfortable at tournaments, very relaxed.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, these guys are all real veterans as far as tournaments go. It looks like we're ready with game number 1 here.
Okay, special thanks to our sponsors, and now let's hop into this match over here. So in the bottom right, in the red, it is Reynor, and his opponent here in the upper left in the blue is Cyan.
Yeah, all right. So Cyan not opting for an early scout. I think it's probably a pretty smart move. Doing a hatch blocking the hatch here is very difficult. But anyways, goes after the gateway, pretty standard. This is a pretty good map for Protoss overall. And in this matchup, certainly. Very easy to get your 3 bases up. Very easy to play a big macro game if you need to.
Right.
And I think that maybe the nice thing about it for PvZ, you know, the 4th base for Zerg is kind of out in the front, easy to hit. And we see a lot of games where they can deny that quite a bit.
Right. Here comes that probe now. So just a little bit of scouting to start things off. I do feel that Reynor, his best matchup from what I've seen and from what I've casted, I think is his ZVZ. He just really has such good.
You're probably right about that.
Zerg, and that's not to knock on his other matchups, but I will say, you know, I think he's got a real chance against Cyan here. But we got to see what exactly Cyan's going to throw out, because a lot of these Protoss players, And this is just sort of the way that Protoss can operate, is that they want to come out here with some type of a timing attack and throw the Zerg off. They don't have to, but I mean, Chinese player like Cyan, I think so. He'll probably come out here with some kind of trick or timing.
Well, I mean, you never actually want to play a very long game against Zerg, because the late game of Zerg versus Protoss right now is Zerg favored.
Right.
We don't see many Protosses really ever taking the late game. You're just kind of having some issues with infestors and broodlord pushes and things like that. So definitely look for the Protoss to finish it off before that at least. Now, looks like a Stargate opener here, as he does get that Adept Chrono to no Warp Gate. And yeah, we'll see how he follows up. I think it's a solid opening, of course.
Yeah, and now we have that third drone coming down to make the third hatchery. So things are beginning to develop, beginning to unpack over here. And I think chances are from Cyan we see an Oracle come out here. He tries to shoot down some drones. There's always alternative builds, but if we're going to just, outline the basics, that's the kind of game we will tend to see here.
Yeah.
And, of course, from there you want to see if you can get rid of any overlords, like with a Phoenix or two. And then usually when the vision is gone, that's where we'll see Protoss possibly take that opportunity to do some type of a build order that is much more tailored now to the situation, the player, the map, whatever you have it be.
Well, we have kind of an interesting opening scenario here. Reynor has rushed up into Overlord speed extremely quickly, and this is generally pretty good if you're playing against a very aggressive and sharp build, so you can scout it out. But if you get it against a Stargate opening, it doesn't really do much of anything for you. You're still going to lose the Overlord no matter what, and it's not like you're scouting something that you have to take special consideration against, right? This is as standard an opener as they come.
Yeah, that insurance policy you took out to make sure you don't die to cheese didn't really go to do anything, really.
Yeah, it's almost like a defensive opener against kind of a macro opener from Protoss.
Right. I mean, in this case, you invested a little bit just to get that information in there and see what was going on. And, you basically can confirm at this point in time, okay, nothing too shady or crazy is coming here. We also saw once that scout was killed, there was an Overlord made over at the Natural. I'm sorry, not an Overlord, a Robo made over at the Natural.
Well, not surprised to see that, of course. Twilight goes down as well, so it looks like probably an Archon drop will be the follow-up, which should surprise absolutely nobody, including Reynor. But, we never really know exactly. Oh, look at this, actually. This is interesting. He's going into melee. Reynor is, right? So, for instance, if Cyan had thrown down a second Stargate, this would be a big advantage towards Reynor. But since it looks like Cyan is actually going for an Archon drop, that'll be pretty good against what Reynor's doing overall, right? Like, +1 Zerglings are still dying to Archons every time.
Yeah, very, very true. And so these these gateways are going to come down here. And, again, another scout here to get the confirmation, okay, what exactly is going on. We have Zealot Leg starting.
Yeah.
And this is pretty good for Reynor to at least know and identify exactly what's coming his way.
Yeah, he missed this Overlord. Reynor pulled it to the side a little bit more. So this is actually quite a valuable scout. He sees what's going on. It's like a 5 or 6 gate with charge. And this is quite a popular build. And, of course, Reynor getting into that Roach Warren wants to make sure that Cyan can't just come out and bully him.
And so these Lings are getting mowed down now by the Oracle. And this attack is about to pick up. We've got the Zealot Legs just about halfway done. And the Warp Prism's going to be out on the map here in just a little bit, trying to move out and put some pressure on. But the +1 Lings is exciting here to see Reynor taking this approach.
Yeah, well, I like that style in general.
Yeah.
I find it to be really fun, really cool. It goes well with Reynor as well because he's very good at multitasking, harassment, and sending counter groups of Lings around the map and things. So +1 helps with that immensely. Now, here comes this set of units from Cyan. Where is that Prism? He really needs to get his Archons going.
Yeah, I'm actually... Oh, I think it's actually over here in the lower center.
Yeah, I see.
And it's going to pick up over there. And we'll have to see how ready Reynor is for this. He's already got a decent number of Roaches. That Zealot charge just finished, so that was used on the Creep Tumors there.
Well, this is so interesting watching him just go around and kill Creep Tumors, clearing up as much as he can.
Yeah, this is not the attack I think we were quite expecting. I was expecting this to be comboed in with the War Prism and the drop. Instead, he's drawn some of the Armory Wave. Now, our observer's missing this, but in the main over here, here we go. The War Prism has actually began to commence the drop.
Yeah, the counter harassment there from Reynor is just awesome, getting 9 probes, and he's kind of holding on overall over here. But, you know, Cyan getting a little bit done at least.
Yep, the Oracle comes in here to help defend against these Lings, so this rush is basically over. Meanwhile, we're going to have Zealots attacking into the natural, and the Archon drop is being driven away over here at the third base, although we just are just now missing that, as that's driven away by the War Prism.
Yeah, the Prism does make it out alive, of course, so very good. The Zealots that were out clearing Creep Tumors are actually having some fights against Roaches here. Looks like he's going to target down a few drones, but, you know, at the end of the day, was this that much damage to?
You know, he traded a lot of Zealots, and he got some drones, but he did not. I mean, those Zealots did not pay for themselves.
I feel like the most impactful thing we saw there was the 9 probes dying to the Ling counter. That felt slightly better for me, but I mean, he's not done. He's still in here. He's causing lost mining time for sure and keeping Reynor at home. Both good, worthwhile things.
Yeah, he's definitely annoying Reynor right now with all this harass, but I feel like Raynor's continuing to grow, and I think what Reynor sacrificed to kill those workers was much better than the workers that were just killed off there by Cyan with the drops and the Zealots and the Archons.
Did he just lose the Prism with the Archons in it? Like when it tried to fly out to the Queens?
Unless that's the Oracle and the natural, in between the natural and the third, I believe he has not lost it. I think it's up there somewhere.
So this blue dot is the Phoenix. He either recalled it and didn't send it back out again.
There
it is. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so I think it just got recalled. I missed it. We don't really have game sounds here, so. Anyways, the fourth base being taken. Definitely a strong army being fielded right now by Cyan.
And Raynor's continuing to mass up a pretty hefty amount. Now, eventually we're going to have the Protoss push come. It'll probably be the most natural to have that come as Storm finishes. That's another one of the things you want to be able to combo in with your army that can really melt big chunks of Zerg units. And, of course, as the Immortal count builds up, the Archon count builds up, we're all leading up to a moment where Protoss needs to do something to the Zerg. As you were saying, Artosis, you don't want them to get into late games. So you're going to have to come in here and try to attack at some moment.
Yeah, and, you know, the thing is I like Raynor's idea for an army overall, right? He's put a lot of money into getting these Zerglings into good shape. They're going to have +2 soon. He's getting Baneling speed. Does have some Ravagers in there as well. You know, this can make you a little bit flimsy, but he's getting into his Broodlords very quickly. So I feel like any windows that exist for Cyan are going to be closing relatively soon. He really needs to think about moving out soon.
Okay, another drop over here. And a nice little move here just to deny this hatchery if he does, in fact, get it. He does, and it was a cancel. Good save there by Reynor. But, of course, the hatchery is going to immediately restart, so not slowing him down too much.
And some biles go out. But looks like he does dodge them reasonably well there. Throws down a Psy Storm. And these Phoenixes, actually, this is really cool to see. These Phoenixes, I was wondering what he was going to do, making a few more of those, but this is really valuable. He's picked up like 5 Ravagers with those.
And this was the kind of play that we needed to see here from Cyan as he pushes out. Now, Zerg is rapidly approaching maxed out supply here, so even though I think that was a pretty big win there to snipe those units without really losing anything in the process, I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Reynor is appearing to be very comfortable as we enter into late game PvZ.
Sure. Oh, a bunch of Speedbanes over here looking for some damage. They're going to meet some Zealots, and the rest of the army here just needs to make sure his High Templars are protected.
That went about as well as it could have for Protoss again here. The Archon zapping the Banelings before the Banelings can even really do any damage touching anything.
Yeah, it's a lot of Archons and Psystorm to have to deal with an army like that, especially when he's lost a bunch of his Ravagers. But he does have +2. He has a huge amount of units being made. He's basically maxed out.
Yeah, here's that moment right now. It looks like the Phoenixes are coming out here. Anything they can pick up, especially if it's Ravagers or something they could take out again. You know, you want to make sure that that War Prism is not hit by the Ravager Biles, because that's one way to completely curb the rush. Now we have a kind of an awkward... I don't know what happened there. It was like half the army was recalled.
That was a weird
And now he's going to lose all these Archons, and this is
brutal.
So bad here for Cyan.
Yeah.
And what appears to be a mechanical error when he was trying to do something very quickly, he's now lost a core amount of his gas units.
Yeah, that's incredibly important against, like, having 5 Archons or having 2 Archons is a completely different world against what Raynor's doing here. I really feel for Cyan. That was a mistake that you won't see that often, to be honest. It was like a weird recall even. I don't even know why he did a recall.
I don't know why he would do a recall either. I don't think he was actually trapped there. And he would have been wanted to at least have had some fight, you know, with the number of Archons he has. Again, a little bit of a mess up here with the Banelings not quite doing anything. We actually have a drop as well from Reynor inside the main, too. So this is going to be a lot of damage done on multiple fronts. I don't know how quickly Cyan can clean this up.
Yeah, things are starting to fall apart for him a little bit, unfortunately. Some damage done here and there. Obviously, losing those Archons is super painful. He is getting into Blink and finish up his +2, so those are things that can help against these Broodlords. But is his base army strong enough so that he can actually get on top of them?
I don't know, man. I'm a little bit worried for Cyan here. We're getting to the point where we are basically in late game, and he has not made a dent into Reynor. I think he's almost giving Reynor too much respect and not appreciating the way the matchup is supposed to operate, you know? You need to try to do something and get in there.
Yeah.
We have these Banes coming in here once again, eliminating 16 probes as well.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, very, very painful stuff there. Reynor, just a master of Zerglings all over the place right now. Another counterattack. Oh, no, the wall is empty, and he just gets right, and he's going to deal a ton of damage with this.
And now these Lings are going to come in here with a surround on top of that Immortal, and I just don't imagine a situation in which the Protoss can come back. Infrastructurally, he is in shambles. To be honest, even with his push taking the hatchery, we're now at the phase where Broodlords are out and in the game.
Yeah.
And with those Broodlords out, how on earth are Immortals and Archons ever going to be able to answer that?
Yeah, no, it's really tough. Like, too many things went wrong since that recall. I felt like Cyan was playing a very good game overall. And look, you see even here, he's almost pushing in. He just doesn't quite have what he needs.
Yeah, there's just no way for him to recover here. I mean, if you look at the blinking red on the mini-map in the upper left.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so much going wrong over here. And there's more than enough of the map for Reynor to continue to grow economically and stabilize here. So that's going to be it. GG. And that means Reynor has a 1-0 lead against Cyan, at least for now.
Yeah. And again, it feels like Cyan is playing pretty well overall at this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm liking a lot of his plays, but then one small thing, two small things go wrong, and it gets out of control because everyone's so strong.
Let's talk about that recall, because that was the weird moment. Everything else is
I don't even think he was being counterattacked. Like, I'm not sure what that was.
I don't understand. I mean, I guess the simple answer is it's just a mistake, but I don't know why in that moment.
Yeah.
That was what happened. He literally recalled, I believe it was only Zealots.
Well, he recalled everything but the 5 Archons. His entire rest of his army.
And the 5 Archons are obviously, those are units you're trying to build up to the entire game so you can win in a big attack at the end. So, I mean, it's like literally one of the worst things you could do. Nerves obviously could be a factor here.
You're playing against like Ling Bane basically, right? Like Reynor's having to max out on Ling Bane for the most part.
Yeah.
You want to attack him. You want to make him continually spend his money on these Banelings that just die to Archons and keep him off those Broodlords for longer and build a lead here. But, you know, unfortunately, you make a mistake, and that's that. Reynor is the defending WCS champion, so...
That's right. No shame in losing to Reynor, but unfortunately it does not appear that Cyan is playing the best games he could be playing. Now, of course, that's why we make him play a best of 3, so he has a shot to redeem himself, and it looks like we'll be going to that now as Game 2 is ready. Right now, Reynor with a 1-0 lead in this best of 3.
All right, in the top left of Cyber Forest, it's Cyan. And in the bottom right, we have Reynor. So... not sure what to expect this game. Kind of wouldn't mind seeing Cyan playing a little bit more aggressively, even though I don't think he played poorly with that slightly more macro-oriented build.
Right. Yeah, I would like to see that personally. I think that's a...
Well, Cyber Forest is kind of a small map, right? You definitely can do something like an Immortal push.
Not
of course,
King's Cove where you're going to be turtling.
You know, We saw, though, that Reynor is willing to just go directly into Overlord speed, right? So you have to take that into consideration as well. He's not going to play overly greedy, so he should be able to scout what you're doing.
And Cyan, again, you know, we saw this in the, what was it? I guess it was the Neeb games yesterday as well, the PvPs there, where he just had some of these attacks where it was like, he was almost trying to like get ahead of himself in some way. It was almost too fancy, and really what it was at the end of the day, because it didn't work, was it was a big risk that didn't pay off. I think if he was a little bit more conservative and just even that recall, it seemed almost like he was he thought he was about to get surrounded when he in fact wasn't, or unless we missed a drop in the main. I know our observer has been working hard all day, but I think we missed a couple drops back and forth there where we might have also not seen it. So maybe he did have to pull Zealots back there, and that was the best Cyan could have done in that moment.
It's definitely a possibility. Well, the Cybernex core is going to finish relatively soon here, and then we can see what is Cyan's plan. Because Reynor's plan most likely is just to absorb Cyan's plan, you know?
Oh, I think so. I think Reynor comes out here, just tries to get a read, have a proper response, and then drag this game out into a long one that he closes it out. That being said, there's also a chance that with Neeb already still alive and well in this tournament and a very high likelihood of those two meeting each other, maybe Reynor wants to pull out one of these strats that he can throw away and not have to use again, so that his current play style is a little bit more disguised from Neeb, because there's no doubt Neeb is watching these games right now and taking mental notes. So that's already an additional problem for Reynor as he's going to try to advance up through the loser's bracket of this tournament.
Well, we saw that it was a chronoed out Adept first, followed by a Robo, so making it look pretty similar to the Stargate opener. But this game, is Reynor actually going to get Overlord speed? It doesn't seem that way.
Nope.
And that would be a very good thing for Cyan. The later that Reynor knows about what's going on, the better that is for our Protoss player.
Yeah. Now, we have the Adept coming in here for a quick little scout, and here's that War Prism that's going to be on the way to try to do some damage here. And everything's looking pretty standard so far.
Yep.
It's a pretty par for the course PVZ here.
Oh, absolutely. So, as that Prism comes, of course, he'll hit down this Overlord that's hiding up at the top. And, of course, this tells, Reynor exactly what he's up against. This is a quick Robo. He knows the timing of it. Roach Warren goes down. Well, what type of push is this going to be? He's getting an Observer, so maybe clear some creep for a be but is he going to go into just a big Immortal push? Is he going to get more gases for sentries?
That's what we're waiting for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the problems is when you're playing against the Protoss is it's not just, there's going to be a timing attack. Okay, but which one? They all require different reactions, and if they're not reacted to perfectly, you will lose. You will be overwhelmed. Yeah,
and look at this, okay? With all these gates being added, this is going to be a one Immortal push.
Right.
And, I mean, it's going to hit hard. It's going to hit fast. Reynor is sitting here on 37 drones. Looks like he's adding a few more, just getting over 40 and then into Roaches. And that is generally the right thing to do here, right? He's not over-droning, making lots of units, watching out for this. The Prism actually already taken a bit of hull damage there as well.
Yeah, again, we've seen a little bit of this with Cyan already, in that sometimes he overextends in these harasses. Sometimes he plays a little bit too boldly. Now, is he going to come in here and get a? I thought he was going to try to get a force field on the ramp there, going old school. But instead, he's probably drawn some of the army back there. There's enough Immortals out; he can decide to push now. And we're seeing this army beeline across the map. There are some links to interfere. This may bait out some of the force fields, which are obviously going to be more important when the attack where Protoss has to hold his ground is going to be.
Well, Reynor is sitting here on 40 drones. It actually turns out to be a 2 Immortal push. It seemed like it was going to be a little bit quicker, but this is still very deadly right now. Has to be dealt with the utmost respect. Tons of Lings being made. Ravagers as well. I feel like Reynor should have just enough to break through this.
Yeah, we have Cyan continuing to press forward here, killing off one of those Ravagers. Nicely done. Another Queen isolated with some Roaches there as well. That was crazy. I cannot believe how he just shot that down so beautifully, and now this army is isolated.
Yeah, such a nice move, and once you lose that Prism, the rush is all but over. Of course, he does have to still clean up. It is a scary set of units, but Reynor has got that advantage right now, a great flank at the beginning of this battle.
Yeah, and now Reynor, with an army that is not as fast and unable to keep up, is going to continue to chase this away. These Adepts shading forward are going to offer quite a bit of help, but I just don't see this being a rush where you can ever actually terminate the Zerg now. I mean, he has to remake this. We don't see any probes being made, which tells us that Protoss hasn't tried to flip this game back around into a macro one. Instead, it's just going to be a worse push without the ability to warp in close proximity to the attack.
So true. Look at that. He is trying to back up, make something happen here. The new Prism is out. Bunch of Zealots being warped in, but Reynor has already done such a great job and is even breaking up some roaches for a counterattack, trying to really put the pressure here onto Cyan.
Okay, and again, the Warp Prism is in such a position. He's got to be careful of that. Cyan being a little bit reckless. If that's too far out, it is easily going to get sniped again by Corrosive Bile.
Look at that. He has to warp in a bunch of units at home now to deal with this small roach counterattack.
These roaches can run, too, after the attack if they're not comfortable.
It even supply blocked him. Cyan in a lot of trouble. Comes up. He's attacking this third base. This could be the last attack of the game.
Okay, this is it. He has the Warp Prism with the army, so he could try to reinforce. But, you know, it's been quite a while. This rush has not killed drones. It has not destroyed a hatchery. It has yet to do anything of real, true impact here. Here we go.
Ooh, does dodge that one, so swift moves there by Cyan. Has to back up, though. A lot of great Biles going down and zoning this. And Reynor just holding on so tight. Still doing some damage across the map.
And that Stalker's now been taken out. More Lings are going to come up. I love how Reynor is sending the bare minimum up over here to keep Cyan from really doing the... I mean, Raynor's counterattacks are doing more damage than Cyan's actual timing push.
Yeah, it really does look that way. Well, Cyan trying this once again. A ton of Biles come down. Some of them actually do end up hitting here. Cyan just taking damage absolutely
He's falling
everywhere.
apart here. This is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, there's just no area that he's been able to push into. We now have spine crawlers up, more Ravagers out here. I would say that Reynor has basically outpaced Cyan here. And again, we still have no probes being made. So this is a rush that either has to end the game or the game will sort itself out here with Reynor being the victor.
Well, I like that Cyan is doing his best to try to stay in this. Just continually warping in, getting everything he possibly can for this final push. But Reynor at this point, he's got such a nice concave. He's got some static D up there. He continues the counterattacks as well. But there are going to be a lot of force fields here, right?
Yeah, there will be force fields, but there will also be plenty of corrosive biles to deconstruct that. So let's see how it goes here.
Okay, a lot of force fields go down. He is biling now and actually hits the sentries with that one. He's got to be careful.
We had more drones transferred to this base as the game continued on here. It's really indicating the confidence that Reynor has in this situation.
Yeah, he did shade into the Natra with those adepts, but it seems like the drones were moved very, very quickly there by Reynor.
Okay, these biles.
Oh my gosh, look at this play by Reynor. Just what a beautiful hold in this game.
Yeah, narrowly escaping is that Warp Prism, but on the ground there's just not enough to defend here for the Protoss.
Yeah. He's trying his best. He's whittled it down to mostly just Ravagers left over, but nothing left in Cyan's army. Oh, even flies back into the bile.
GG.
And that's it.
Nicely done.
All right.
Well, we've got our winner for that part of the match there. Reynor just crushed through Cyan. Cyan, I think, had a lot of good ideas. His execution, however, was not what it needed to be to win there. You know?
Well, you know what? Reynor is just one of the best players in the world, and he kind of showed it. And he will be waiting for the loser now of Maru against Neeb. So he's still in this tournament. Unfortunately for Cyan, China's hope, he is out in 4th place.
That's right. So we are getting closer and closer to closing out our tiny 4-person invitational. I do like that we have a loser's bracket here, so everybody's going to get a chance to come back, because in a tournament that small, if you just get on the wrong side of the bracket, it can be pretty sad for you.
Yeah,
so,
that's for sure. Seems like that's what happened to Reynor here, getting Maru.
It's tough getting Maru. We will have Neeb versus Maru as well. Is that coming up next?
That is correct.
Do we know what time that is?
Neeb versus Maru. Not sure exactly.
The schedule can get moved around a little bit here. It's very hectic down here at WCG. Of course, there's so many games going on. We're one of, I believe, 4 streams.
Yeah. Well, more than that, actually. There's 5 streams, I believe.
Okay. Let's up it to 6. Let's just tell them there's 6. There's so many streams going on here. Well, you guys should use Artosis' Twitter. He'll keep you updated on where it is.
Yeah, I'm keeping updated.
I'm having a hard time getting on mine on my phone because we're in China. But we'll keep you guys posted. We will be back. And for now, enjoy the highlights.